And making a general announcement to all of those on the ship, as well as on the OKEX party line, and those on the conference calls. This is to remind everyone that all audio associated with this dive will be recorded with the archived video, as well as being transmitted up to the satellite and streamed around the world via the internet. Keep that in mind as we proceed with the dive today, and also, as this is a historical and memorial preservation area, please do not disclose any geolocation information. If you happen to see one of the streams change to color bars or to another camera, that's because someone has deemed it potentially something that should not be seen by small children and otherwise people back on shore.
63 degrees on my rotator.
Be aware we are still recording everything, and once we ensure that it is not something that should not be seen, we will restore the feeds to normal. So enjoy the dive. Thank you.
So for those of you who are watching from home, those of you who are in the exploration command centers and who have been following along for a while know the drill. But there are 3 feeds that are available to you. So you'll be able to see, generally on the first screen, the images from the Deep Discoverer ROV. On the second screen, you'll be able to see images taken from the Sirius ROV. That's about 20 to 30 meters above the Deep Discoverer.
Right,
and then on the third screen, that can change from time to time, but usually it's what we call a quad view. So you'll be able to see some images from the Deep Discoverer, usually sonar maps, sometimes images of our control room here at the on board the ship. And, oh yeah, you can see us now. Hi.
30 meters altitude.
Okay, we are now 30 meters off of the bottom.
Hi, have we had Frank join again?
I'll leave my camera at 45 for you.
Thanks.
Yes, let's do a sound check. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're still kind of weak, Frank.
Yes, Frank, we can hear you. Just continue to have your normal conversation. I'll adjust your level here.
Kelly asked me, this is Jeremy, to talk to see if it's just Frank or if it's just, or if I'm going to be just as quiet. So is that any better when I'm talking now about the dive we're about to do to see if there be 29?
Hi, Jeremy. You guys are all fairly quiet, so we're going to adjust the volume from the entire phone line.
Our pilots have noted that the bottom is in sight now.
While the pilots are setting up, can we, Frank, can you provide a little bit of background, and we'll adjust your audio as we go,
When she'll stop.
Sure. We're working off of Tinian, an island next to Saipan. Tinian was an airbase during late World War II, a major airbase in which U.S. forces flew missions against Japan. And there were large numbers of planes flying in and off the island. And there were occasional accidents. And a number of planes were lost in the Saipan Channel, where you're located now. And just watching the video.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting, Frank.
It looks as if we have discovered some debris on the seafloor in front of us.
You want me to adjust your sonar?
Definitely so.
Pilot?
Yeah, give me 20-meter range, please.
I can get that.
The pilots are just settling down to the seafloor now, and they will get the vehicle stable, and then we'll be able to proceed and examine what we're seeing right in front of us.
Come down a little bit, give you a little more slack.
Okay.
This is Jeremy.
Looks like I'm
it
getting
appears
pulled
just from this initial sight, it looks like to be
bit.
the left or port wing, but we'll need to get down along it. Let's see if we can see another
Okay,
nacelle.
adjusting my seat bias.
Because we're looking at the engine nacelle and the outer wing.
17-meter altitude I'm holding here.
Of an aircraft.
All right, let's make sure we keep that target.
You want me to get some lights out?
Yeah. Yeah, let's
For
do
me,
that.
one of my big
No reason
questions
not to use
was,
lights
you know,
today.
What would you
if we're
like?
going to see an airplane, was it going to be
Upper and
covered?
lowers.
I'll leave a
Filter,
donut.
some sort of sediment.
And so it looks like
Rolly, you
it's
want them
pretty
all out?
recognizable. It looks like part of an airplane.
Copy that.
Bridge, ROV nav.
And so this is Juliet.
We are on the bottom. We're going to stick with our earlier bailout plan of 100 degrees. And don't want to get too ahead of myself, but you might want to watch this one. You might want to watch this one.
Okay, Frank and folks in Silver Spring and elsewhere, once the pilots are
possible target just ahead,
ready
yes.
to move, we need some guidance from you with regard to what you'd like to see first. And we'll relay that to the pilots.
Okay, watch lead
I'd
pilot.
like to see you go, okay, your positioning just to go straight forward towards what looks to be some sort of metallic reflection there. Is that,
we do a scan of the
to
area.
go back towards the right?
Watch lead pilot.
Go ahead.
We're asked to go forward toward that highly reflective feature that's to the right. To the right.
Copy that.
Currently, what's taking place?
A scan of the area so that you see
Currently, what's
everything in
taking
case
place?
we
The
come back.
pilots are deploying the light bar swing arms, so it'll be just a few more minutes before they're ready to
So that's a look to the west.
head towards the location.
And there's another reflective
Thank you, Roland.
object in the top of the screen. So the pilots, as Roland mentioned, are adjusting the light bars. There are movable light bars on the upper part of the remotely operated vehicle, and that will facilitate their ability to more clearly image the features on the seafloor. So we get more light on them, and then we can proceed further.
That's the feature we're going to go to first.
Shirley, this is Wendy in Hawaii.
This is a
As
view
far
to
as
the
what
east.
I'd like the pilot to do, we do want a perimeter search, of course, but we would like to see all angles of the aircraft, as well as like a good flyover
Hydraulic
from wingtip
Thank
to
you,
wingtip
co-pilot.
and nose to tail.
Are we trying to keep you in view?
Oh, okay. Thanks, Wendy.
Yeah, thanks. Just a little bit. I'm going to come back
And
to that.
also, if we could
Okay.
concentrate
Spot
at some
again.
point on the nacelle, I believe that's probably the shiny material that
Okay,
you're
and that's a
seeing.
view
It's
again
the glass in the
to the
nose.
south. So we've done
Sorry,
a
not the
full
nacelle, the
360
nose.
degree view from our
Okay,
landing spot.
thank you.
Thank you.
Shirley, this is Chris. I'm sorry, I had to step outside to take a call. Can you tell me if we're on Romeo or whether we're on Juliet?
We are on Romeo.
Great, thank you.
You're starting to pull me, pilot.
Okay, so I'm going to need you to get a ship move towards me. I'm going to go towards 050. Okay?
050, all right. And,
050. At least 30 meters.
30 meters,
Say
great.
35 meters. You can do that at 0.2 or 0.3 is fine.
I'll go 0.3. Very shallow.
Go ahead, watch lead.
Bridge, ROV nav. We are ready for ship
Okay.
move. 35 meters, bearing 050 degrees
Understood.
at 0.3 knots.
Pilots, I'm not certain, but it seems like we got a lot of light immediately
Okay.
in
Good
front of
copy.
us and hardly any
Okay,
forward.
so first thing I did there was a full 360 of our landing spot so that we don't miss anything behind us. And now we're moving Sirius, which will only take a minute or two at the depths we're working. We're moving Sirius closer to where I am so that I can move towards that first target.
The pilot's just explaining that he has done a swivel
Okay, I'm happy to
360
do that.
around the position
Okay.
at which the
Sure,
ROV
yeah, just
first
ask me
landed, just to look
and
to
I'll
see if there
latch on.
are
Okay,
any
yes.
potential entangling devices or whatever is behind the vehicle as well before he starts
So,
moving. But he is now asking for Sirius to be moved directly above the remotely operated vehicle, so the 30-meter tether between Sirius and the remotely operated vehicle then gives him more slack, and he can move around the current site.
Shirley, Wendy again. If the tail is intact, which I couldn't tell from the first view, but if it is, we do want to concentrate on any markings there because the tail code could be there, which would help us identify it.
Absolutely,
yep,
yes, we are
that's
aware
part of
that.
our plan.
So, if you want to move 050, maybe I should have moved 090 because I don't know.
Okay.
We're not getting any closer.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
And we have something in the water.
Yes.
Bio-goo.
Not only bio-goo.
Yeah, let's do that.
Bridge, ROV nav. Can we
so the
cancel the
debris on the seafloor that you're seeing in the lower right-hand side
meters, bearing
of the screen.
Degrees, 0.3 knots.
Feeling a lot of current, pilot.
Is partially covered with sediment.
Yeah.
Okay.
The currents through the islands are quite strong at times when tides are changing, so it's not unexpected that much of the debris we would be seeing might be at least partially covered with sediment.
Yeah, if you could. Yeah, Paul, if you could back up just a little bit, then I could keep you in view.
All right, backing up.
My thrusters are at a constant, like 20, 30, 40%, so. Yeah.
Hi, Silver Spring. As we are
You're just off right here.
getting into position here, can we have an audio check from you guys, please?
I can see the dark figure, so. Yeah.
Pilot, how far ahead of you would you guess that target is? I just want to get it marked sooner rather than later.
Sonar should have it.
20 meters.
Yeah, I think I see that. So 20 meters.
Okay, Sirius, can you move now?
Try changing my set point here a little bit.
But the lighting still looks very hot right in front of the vehicle.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not
it.
hearing anything from folks
Silver
in
Spring.
Silver Spring.
Yeah, if you could lateral to, let's see.
We're here, Shirley. We're just having some conversations. We had to turn the air conditioning back on, and it's rather noisy in our room right now.
Okay, I can hear you better, though,
Yeah,
Frank.
you
I can hear you a lot
do
better.
sound much louder. Thank you very much, Frank.
Okay,
And can we have a confirmation
where
from
you're
folks
at.
that are also on the line
I had
but
to
not
turn
in
my head
Silver
a long
Spring
way,
about
so if
what
you could
the audio
lateral
is from the Silver Spring
port
crowd?
Big time.
I can hear them fine. They're a little faint, but I can hear them well enough.
Okay, thank you very much, guys.
Okay.
That is exactly what I'm going for.
Excellent.
This is Hans at the B Kirk. Same thing here.
Yeah, right there.
All right, thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Here we go.
Sounds like we are ready to go. So this is Patty. Frank, if you and Wendy would like to express your desires with regard to the survey, that'd be great.
Sure. We want to do a perimeter search, but
yes,
everybody is quite interested in
just
going along
an
with
easy stop
wing and seeing what that shiny object was, whether it's a nacelle or part of the nose of the plane.
Okay.
That should be our first objective.
Okay. So, pilot, watch lead.
Go ahead, watch lead.
Yes. Frank would like to first look at what appears to be a wing right in front of us, and then we do want to do a perimeter survey, but also would like to look at the more reflective object on the left-hand side above what appears to be a wing here to determine whether this is the nose of the aircraft.
Okay, understood. So first we'll take a look at the wing.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
And very likely what is just ahead of us, the first larger object, may be the engine.
Okay, understood. So you want me to go over the...
Yeah, and especially, you know, if there are any markings.
Turn to starboard rather than lateral port.
I got it.
Yes, what's very promising about this is that one of the features of V29 is it's a bare metal airplane. So that's what we're interested in, that reflective property, to see if that's what we're looking at in terms of as a nacelle or as a plexiglass that survives as part of the nose.
We'll come up just a little bit for tether management.
Understood.
So moving along the length of that wing to see if we can find another
Yeah,
nacelle.
you don't want to get too close to the seafloor because your heave
if that's part of the fuselage. That's going to be very interesting to see how
Video sites a little hot up front. I think I have the lights adjusted where we typically do.
Right, right.
Marks on the wing or parts.
Video, how those lights look?
In terms of
The lights look very hot in the front and dark in the back. I can't seem to see the distance that we would normally like to see.
See right there in the bottom right corner.
If I bring the bottom to the proper level, the background is very dark.
It has these little pointy ends at the end of the nacelle.
Okay, I'll see what I can do for you.
And so, looking at the wing right there might be the tracks for the Fowler flat along the top of the wing that you see right there. And as we're kind of working our way to the left, I think that looks like a main gear wheel. Actually, we might be looking at the bottom of the wing. And so, but that's definitely a nacelle there.
It's upside down.
And then as we move to the left, you can see. I want to get a little bit closer, but that might be a main gear wheel.
Want to take in a closer shot.
Frank, are you asking for a zoom on this?
I think we want to kind of scan along it up close, get details. We want to look for any markings that might be there, either paint or on the metal surfaces.
But definitely, I think we're looking at the bottom of the wing here. So
Yep.
it's going to be harder to...
Pilot watch lead.
Go watch lead.
Yeah, there's a request to get a closer look. It looks as if from the shore they're saying this looks like the bottom of the wing, the bottom of the engine.
Yep. That you can see his landing gear there.
And you can just tell...
So is there a chance for a zoom videos?
On the engine?
On the engine, yep.
Stand by.
So, Frank, we're going to be doing a zoom on the engine.
Okay,
is there
video
any
partial,
particular portion of the engine that's more important than another?
Hold that. Thank you.
Right up front, I guess you've gone a little bit by it, but...
Yeah, right up front, so below the image that you're looking at now.
Copy that. Backing up slowly.
Okay. Sorry, Frank.
On the front edge, there was a scoop. I believe it's crushed, but it was a scoop that was right under the bottom of the front of the motor. It's diagnostic.
Pilot, I'm just noticing your tether is blowing the way you're facing.
Closer look at that.
Zoom a little more video. Not too much. Zoom a little more
right
video.
Right on the front edge.
Great. Hold that.
Is this more or less what you were hoping for, Frank, or do you want to go closer to the front of the engine?
The front of the engine, the very edge of the front of the engine.
Okay.
There it is, right there. That's
that
it.
That bubbled area is what we're looking for.
That is the front of the engine.
Give you the zoom if you're stable for it.
No. That was part of the cooling system. It was a duct
Pull out a
for
little bit,
air
Rolly.
Going and cool the engine.
Great. Hold that.
Perfect. That's a very good shot right there if you stay there for a few seconds.
You got it.
And just to get our bearings, this was the reflective surface on the right that we were moving towards as we went along the wing.
Okay, yep. Thank you for that confirmation. So,
Okay, could we now kind of zoom out? We can continue down the wing. I should ask, does anybody else on the line here want to take a closer look at any of this area?
No, we're good here. Thank you.
okay. Okay, thank you, pilot. If you could zoom out.
Okay, full wide video.
And continue along the wing to the fuselage.
Copy that.
Over to the left, you can see the main gear well with the tires wheels set up in there.
Yeah, looks like they are retracted, so on takeoff.
Co-pilot, that's a great view of me. Thank you.
Yeah. I got a little fish hanging out by the tire.
Really good context. Thanks.
So, Frank, would you like a zoom on the landing gear?
Yes, definitely.
Pilot, watch lead. May
Copy.
we have a zoom on the landing gear?
Copy that. Setting up.
It looks as if the doors are missing. We don't know if they're partially retracted or fully.
Right.
We're having a here. They would step in and fail. That's
Okay, video zoom partial.
I'm sorry, Frank. I think you're
please.
breaking up a little bit.
all right. If we can just pan around in that area a little bit.
Yeah, actually, Frank, if we could just do a perimeter first and then do zooms after we have the full lay of the land, that might work out best. Is that okay with you?
That's good. That's fine. There was a perimeter and he was following the wind. Yeah, okay. And just before we move on, what we're looking at is a B-29 is a tricycle landing gear aircraft. It has a nose wheel up in the front, forward fuselage, and it has two sets of main gear and the engine nacelles, the inner nacelles.
Full wide, please, video.
With two wheels each.
Thank you.
Lasers on, please.
Pretty close to the
Copy lasers on, co-pilot.
And as we would move to the left, it would be moving towards the main fuselage.
Roger.
Yep, so we're going to go ahead and do a perimeter search on this, kind of get the lay of the land, and then we'll go back in for closer images of everything. That'll give us all a better idea of what we're seeing.
That sounds good. We're just very excited.
Yes, I know. We are too. We are too. It's amazing that we got right down to the first target. Says a lot about our mapping and our crew on the ship as well.
And,
there we go.
And
Here we
those
go.
people who
yeah.
reprocessed the images.
Okay, here we go.
We're definitely what we're seeing here is the B-29. We've passed through the center spar where the fuselage would join with the wings, and now we've moved on to the other two nacelles on the other wing. So we're looking at the left wing here, since the airplane's upside down. So we're looking at another nacelle with the two wheel main gear in the nacelle, and then we see the outer engine there out to the left.
Cutting off the engine.
And that's a very distinctive
design element of the Super Fortress by Boeing is that it had to be made in large numbers, and they made almost 4,000 of them. And so being able to assemble a wing and join it to the fuselage quickly in the factory, whether it's a Boeing or Martin or a Bell, that's part of the design element. So I'm not seeing anything else here in terms of the fuselage, but we're looking at pretty much as the majority of the remainder of a B-29 wing.
I'm giving you more slack, pilot. But,
okay. Yeah, that may be the extent of how far I can go anyway. But it looks like I'm at the end of the wing. So actually, that's one end of the wing to the other.
It's the end of your leash.
And it's as far as I can go right now.
Okay.
So I'm going to come back.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, so we've gone from one end to the other. It's as far as we can go on the tether right now from the Sirio, so we're going to work our way kind of back, get another view of this. And if you're looking at screen 2, you can see the shot from the Sirios looking down on the Deep Discoverer and the wreckage.
Wow, that's a wonderful shot, too. I'm not.
Yeah, he's driving targets well.
Airplanes that are in water or salt water, but it's amazing to see that shiny deraillement there. Maybe that just because the current things also going to have the
marked so far.
Some abrasion, but
yeah, I have to tell you, I'm not familiar with this at all either, and I'm amazed at the condition.
Pilot, I'm trying my head to keep you in view. Just heads up.
Underwater, unless there's a lot of growth on it.
No, we're good.
Okay.
So
I just came up as you were running me, and then I went down as you were away from me, and I came back up a little bit.
Either the growth or sand on them, that it's not so much, but these parts that are sticking up, it's pretty difficult to see aluminum that's still shining.
thanks for that input. And so what we're also looking at here is there's not a forward fuselage that we see here. And so the front of the airplane, that very distinctive glazed nose that's very characteristic of a B-29, but there is, I guess, debris behind the wing. Yeah. So it would be the rear fuselage. So it'll be very interesting to see what that is. And then Frank pointed out there's a steep drop, I guess, behind the artifact, especially along the wing. Right. So I'm curious to see how that'll play out in terms of what else we'll see.
Right, and as soon as we get the Sirios in position so the D2 can move, the Deep Discoverer can move around, we will get a good view of the area behind what we're looking at right now. And again, get a great view from the Sirios.
Well, actually, that's where I'm headed now. I'm going to go around this wingtip. I'm not going to go over it. And then I'm going to go down along the fuselage, what we believe to be the back end of the aircraft.
Okay, so we are going around. We're not going to go fly over this. We're going to go around this wing and then go closer to what could be the fuselage and move down that area.
Yeah, something like 7-7.
The Sirios view is quite complete of this portion of the wing.
15 meters.
So we could do...
Guys, don't put the
let's
directly in the rack.
Hold on. Yeah.
You could, for example, park it where I was sitting and looking at that.
Too loud about the idea where the was the wing.
You could park Sirius.
Would the wing come off the airplane that easily? I think that we have a pretty good indication of what happened in this particular airplane, but they were definitely meant to stay together. But if we get any clues on what particular this airplane is, we might have a little more insight on what happened.
Bridge, ROV nav.
A lot of the reports, the missing aircrew reports we looked at on these aircraft describe the plane breaking up
15 meters, bearing 115 degrees,
probably not all of them,
knots.
but it was pretty common that they broke apart. So I think this is really something special to be able to see at least the wing more intact here.
Okay, now you can see I'm coming up aft of the first landing gear that we were looking at. So right now I'm just aft of the first
this debris
engine.
here doesn't really lend itself to that cylindrical aluminum fuselage of a B-29. So a closer look might give us some clues, but this airplane had a rough landing on the water.
Yeah, we are seeing a lot of scattered debris, small pieces aft of the forward part of the wing, even at the lower right-hand side of the Sirius view. You can see very small pieces.
There's also a pretty good devastation going on. Deterioration of the surfaces, though, because you could see on the wings as we were coming over that it's missing all of the skin, and that would have been the underside of the wing.
Right.
So just the deterioration of the metal action that's going on is pretty substantial.
So maybe some of our experts can give us a little bit of background on this, when this would have happened, what these planes were doing, a little bit more details about the planes. We've been getting some questions. Would this have happened takeoff or landing? So if you could provide a little bit of context to our many viewers who are watching and listening from home.
This is Jeremy in Silver Spring. I'll speak to the history of the B-29 operation, but I think also our folks should talk about how the saltwater environment interacts with the airplane.
Any other large
Air Force of the United States Army Air Force is
part of the aircraft
strategic Air Force that was going to attack mainland Japan. And so, in many ways, the stories we know about the island hopping campaign through the Pacific with the Marines, as well as the Army through the Southwest Pacific, was to get close enough to Imperial Japan to have air bases to attack Japan.
Yeah, go ahead, pilot.
So that completes our perimeter scan of this particular
and so,
item.
Tinian and Saipan in the Marianas were the floating airfields for the 20th Air Force. They start in China first. It doesn't work very well.
Okay, stand by. We've got somebody explaining the context of this crash. I think they're going to want zooms in on these features, so that's probably going to be the next thing they're going to ask for. So maybe if you can just do a closer imaging of these features.
Against Imperial Japan. First flying traditional strategic bombing, high altitude daylight precision raids, but then changing tactics to meet the situation in the air over Japan to low-level night bombing with incendiary or fireball. And so the crews of these B-29s through the different bomb wings that made up the 20th Air Force and the bomb groups and the bomb squadrons and the individual crews of the B-29, they would have had a very long journey. I mean, this is at the extent of the maximum range of a B-29 flying from the Marianas to Japan and back. 3,000 miles with up to a 20,000-pound bomb load. And so these crews would have heavily laden aircraft with fire bombs or conventional bombs full of gasoline. And these airplanes are going to be overstressed as they take off. So many of the crashes were where an airplane taking off would lose an engine, have some sort of mechanical difficulty, and crash. And you'd lose the entire crew, whether it's right at the end of the airfield or in the waters around Tinian. And so this is a very dangerous business for these bomber crews to experience. So we're looking at an airplane that was forced down. We don't know particularly if this was an airplane that would have been lost on takeoff. Most of them were, because after the capture of the island of Iwo Jima, the famous flag rising of Mount Suribachi, that island was captured for two things. As an emergency landing strip for B-29s that were damaged over Japan, as well as a base for the escort fighters, the P-51 Mustangs that would have flown with them to Japan and back. And so this won't be in every case, but in many ways, the Iwo Jima would have received the damaged bombers coming back unless something happened between Iwo Jima and Tinian and Saipan. And so we're probably looking at a lot more instances of takeoff trouble with aircraft, but we just don't know until we know what this particular airplane is. And so the highly mechanized, advanced, sophisticated strategic bombing campaign against Japan, these are the airplanes. And so The B-29 is the world's most sophisticated propeller-driven airplane in 1945. You know, they're jet airplanes flying in Europe, but they're flying in small numbers.
Sure.
And, you know, World War II was fought overwhelmingly with conventional propeller-driven piston engine airplanes. And so the B-29 is it. I mean, it can cruise at 220 miles per hour. It can carry up to 20,000 pounds of bombs of 3,000-mile round trip and do that in large numbers due to the industrial capacity of the United States. And so the features that we may or may not see, depending on what else tonight, but you know, a pressurized fuselage, so you don't have to wear an oxygen mask and heavy fur clothing. You know, a remote control gun system that you can actually track a fighter as it attacks you, and the ability to fly that long distance. Now we're looking, it looks like a soda can lid or a beer can lid, doesn't it? The top, the pull tab top of a can. And what we've learned at the Smithsonian, in these airplanes we're flying a lot of missions, you get a lot of beer cans, matches, cigarette butts, sardine can keys, all that, things that make up what the life of the crew was on the airplane. You know, even the B-29 had a bathroom for the long range. So these crews are living in these airplanes, and they're going to go through these brief, terrifying moments of takeoff, mechanical trouble, and actual combat as they do that. And this looks, I think, what the airplane is broken up, and we're seeing what's inside it.
Could we get an estimate on what the size between those lasers are, so we get a good idea of the size of these objects?
Yeah, they're
10 centimeters.
Oh, sorry.
Do we want to send more?
Could we zoom in on the white object next to the rectangular one you were just looking at?
Stand by. We're going to check on that. Yeah, we're going to do wide angle first to document, and then we will be zooming in on individual features. Wendy, is that you?
Where would you like me to go?
Okay, great, thanks. Just trying to get the names and the voices.
Watch lead, where would you like me to focus? Okay. Understood. Go ahead, video.
Okay, here we go, Wendy.
Hey, this is Hans. Do we know the orientation of this wing? North-south, southeast, northwest?
Not sure, Hans. We're going to check.
Yeah, the heading of the ROV is 295 degrees, and it is essentially orthogonal to the wing.
We had a bit of interference. Was that 290 degrees for the ROV right now?
295. Right now, it's 301, but 295, okay. 301
That's
or so.
Enough.
Can you hold for a tighter zoom?
Thank you.
Yeah, a little bit.
Do we know the prevailing current direction?
Okay, hold it.
I'm sorry, say again.
I was just curious about the prevailing current direction or current. I could look that up later.
Oh, yeah, we can get that for you in a bit.
Okay, full wide, please. Okay, watch lead. Next item.
Yeah, pilot, if you could zoom on the items that are up to the right of the white object.
Okay.
I want the white object too, please.
Roger, I understand. Okay, we will do that as well.
Okay, Rolly, let's go in.
Just to let you know, we're seeing the Sirius view on camera 1 right now, not the HD camera from the ROV.
Yes, we're aware. We are aware.
Right. Okay, stand by. Okay, stand by. Well, we know what that can is. Can you go in tighter, please, video? Hold. And that looks like a Budweiser beer can there as well. I can't say about the black object. Will you take my tilt, please, Levi, for these tight shots? I'm going to need your help.
All right, video. Let me know where you want me to tilt. I'm listening as well, but...
Well, it looks like we have a lot of modern debris here, especially cams.
Okay, full wide, please, video.
Which I don't think would be too unusual. This would catch a lot of things going through the channel.
Yeah, that's correct. And to tell you the truth, on some of our, even our deep water dives, we've seen some debris. Yeah, trash.
Okay, do we want to go in on the shoe again? Is that what I heard?
Yeah, this is Hans. I've seen a lot of bottles and cans on dives with Hawaii Industry Research Lab folks here. It's relatively the same depth and the same kind of scouring with currents, and they fall into the scour.
All right, tilt back.
You can keep it.
Good.
I'll just talk to you.
Sounds good.
Voice activated.
Yeah.
Watch lead pilot. Next area of interest. Next area of interest, please.
Put that thing over on the left.
Can we zoom into that white object in the mid-left lower?
Yeah, we did do that. That is documented with a zoom.
Oh.
You'll be able to see that later.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take my tilt back.
All right.
So we are...
this object, watch lead?
Lower part of the picture, that looks like the track for the Fowler Flats, which are another distinctive feature of a B-29. It gives it increased lift at takeoff and landing and makes it safer to operate with a heavy load. So yeah, just there to the right is, I think, is part of that track.
Okay, got that.
Go ahead. Okay, understood. Full wide.
That'll put a negative turn.
The cans are from World War II or more recent artifacts. This is Debbie.
Yeah, that's a good question.
I think it's more recent.
I don't know how the decoration of Coke cans has changed since then. As I recall from my childhood, not too long after this, that most of the Coke came in bottles.
Can we get a different angle of the white thing? Like what's behind it?
Oh, we have lots of zooms there, which are recorded.
Okay.
What we're doing now is approaching the area of the fuselage. Try to go down to the left to examine its extent and do some zooms along there.
In answering the question about the cans, I think that lightweight aluminum cans like that get tossed in the ocean, unfortunately, probably roll for miles and miles on the seafloor and then fall into a little pit or scour or get captured by a wreck site like this. So there's often intrusive material that you see on site.
Okay, got it.
I think during World War II, it was all Coke bottles. We find a lot of both clear and green Coke bottles on site on World War II sites here. I don't think we've ever seen cans. I think cans were much later than World War II.
Hold that, thank you.
The other thing going on...
We zoom in on the shiny spot to the right, middle.
Or up to the left.
Sorry, left. To the left.
Say again what you wanted to zoom in on, please, on the left.
There was a rectangular object that was sort of shiny. It's to the left of where you are now.
Okay.
Okay, pull out video.
Yeah, that's all modern, especially with the pull tab.
Yes, the pull tabs are a dead giveaway.
Okay, looking for something shiny.
Does anybody remember the church key?
Yes.
There. Perhaps.
Patty does, at least. I don't know about Shirley. She's a young'un.
Oh, no, I'm not. And I do remember. Oh, look at that fish. That beautiful.
Okay,
there are.
What is that
first,
fish?
And I'll come back to you, Rolly.
Can we zoom into that center mount?
Yeah, no, I think that's a good thing to...
Yeah, it looks like it may be.
Okay, can we have partial, please?
Parachute?
Yeah.
Hold that.
Yeah.
That's another can.
The shiny object on the left is what I was referring to before, but yes, I'd like to see both of those, please.
So just hold that zoom. Hold the zoom.
Okay, I can see now. Thank you. It's a can.
Yeah, I think that white object is a can. There are a number of them. This is a prime fishing spot for local folks.
Okay, now I'm going back towards the center mound.
I see parachute cord.
Could well be. Okay, I'm going to try and get the mound centered, and then I'll hold. There's a lot of cord there. Whether it's cord or cable, I can't tell, but there's a lot of cord.
What we are seeing now may be a parachute.
That's kind of what it looks like.
Okay. Rolly, a little more zoom. Hold. Thanks.
Can you zoom in on it to get a good look at the fabric itself?
Go ahead, watch lead. Yes, indeed. Go in a little more video.
The seam stitching appears consistent with parachute. And a little to the left, there are a number of cords coming off the edge of the fabric.
Okay. Working on it.
It's just off the screen, lower left corner.
Yep, we're moving that way. There you go. You should see it soon.
Tilt me up, please, co-pilot. Hold.
you may have.
So it looks like this is a parachute.
You go. Can you scroll down to the left? You may have optic material right there in the bottom corner.
Down to the left.
Hard to tell.
I agree with you, Drew. That's what I was looking at, too.
Yeah.
What kind of material did you say? Yeah, type it into. Okay, yeah, type that into the chat, please.
Okay, I can go back in on that if we need to.
Right, got it.
Just there. Do you want to snap it? Okay. Watch lead pilot. Yeah, what do we want to look at? Copy that.
Rotators back to you.
That object over to the left may be the missing engine.
Roger that. We're just discussing here about something to zoom in on, so stand by, please.
Okay. The images are clear. We can zoom to that object that was potential bone.
I can rotate for you if you want. Rotator. But.
Okay, go ahead, video. All the way in. Hold that.
Now it's looking shellish.
Yeah, it does. Okay, pull out a bit. Tiny bit more. Great, hold that.
Your right toe.
Okay, back up here.
Yeah.
So for folks listening at home, the Sirius vehicle is about 2 meters across the top, which gives you a sense of scale for the debris field that we're looking at.
Deep Discoverer.
Deep Discoverer. I'm sorry. Yep. Deep Discoverer is the remotely operated vehicle you're looking at. Sirius is giving you the view, and it's a vehicle that's up above it, attached to it by a 30-meter cable.
Okay, video snaps in. Hold.
Some writing on that red stuff there. I think it's a piece of a Coke can.
Coke.
Suspect that's circular object.
Watch lead nav.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Nav. We've got some questions about how strong the currents are here.
Okay, full wide, please.
Okay. The surface current is 0.3 knots with a set of 30 degrees, and at the bottom it's a little bit different.
So our navigator tells us that the surface currents are about 0.3 knots at 30 degrees. And down on the bottom, it's a little bit different. Haven't got the specifics yet, but I will relay as soon as I do.
Okay, watch lead. Anything else in that central area?
Nav, I would say a very slight west-to-east current, but
I agree.
Not much.
Stand by. I will check. Okay. Shore-based experts, anything else you'd like to zoom in on in this general area?
Maybe the other,
Yeah, actually,
the other side of the debris.
We would love
as much coverage around that parachute area and the equipment, the material the parachute's draped on, the fabric, shouldn't say it's parachute definitely, as we can get. So it looks like you're coming around to a different angle on it. I would like to zoom back in on it.
Okay, can do.
Go ahead, watch it. Okay, different angle on the fabric. Copy that. While we're getting there, let's take a partial zoom on this tangle. And good, hold that. I'll just pull out a little bit, please. Thanks, that's good.
Looks like a wiring harness.
The current on the bottom is about 0.1 knots from west to east.
Thanks, Nav.
Okay, we have an update now on the bottom currents. It's about 0.1 knots, and direction is from west to east.
There's a Mountain Dew can below and left of lasers.
Okay.
Our dive today is taking place during
let's go in just a
approach
little bit tighter,
to
and we'll take a
slack
angle on
tide,
this
and then as we recover, we will be in the end of slack tide. So the current should be, very minimal during the dive period.
There you go.
Yeah.
How about that?
Currents between the islands can be really brisk at maximum, upwards of 3 to 4 knots.
On the upper right.
So we're here at a good time.
We are indeed. But that does help to explain why much of the debris is so heavily covered with sediment.
No.
No, it looks like it's...
If it did deploy, it...
So again, just a reminder, if you're not calling in or providing input over the phone, make sure you mute your line. Any conversations that you're having with each other can be heard on the audio feed. Thank you.
I don't think this looks like parachute to me.
Can we pull out
I do a lot of sewing. I know some fabric. This looks more like the kind of thing that would be used to wrap over cargo in the hold, but that is just a guess. It is coarser fabric than what you would expect to see in a parachute.
Right.
Could we move further to the left, please?
Yes, we'll do that.
Yeah, go ahead. Okay, have we had enough of views of this? Okay, turning to the left. Yeah, go ahead. Okay, understood.
In the lower. Could we zoom in on the object to the left at the bottom?
Yes, yeah, we're going to do that. Thanks.
Okay, left.
Okay, we're going left.
Left bottom. I don't see an object yet. Full wide, please.
Yeah.
So on shore, can you give us a little guidance exactly where?
Okay, so you can see the laser dots. You should be able to see the laser dots in this screen in your image right now. If you can give us an idea where, in reference to those laser dots, the item is that you would like to zoom in on, please.
Direction of a clock hand. So,
like 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock.
9 o'clock. Rock.
Yeah, can you pan down and move to the left a bit? Zoom in so I can see the object again.
Oh, pilot, can you move a little to the